Yo, AFR back at it. Episode
99.
99. Oh my gosh. I
99.
wish this was 100. If we were on our game, the March Madness week would have been episode 100. Ben Ryan Chase back at it again. It's been a crazy year so far, some ups and downs. We're still getting out here for that grind, especially with one of the best sports weekends of the entire year. We've been saying it for weeks now. Haven't talked much college hoops at all this entire year, but guess what? Now it's time to start. This is the March Madness only episode. Tune in if you love college hoops. Maybe tune out this one if you're waiting until next week when we start talking more baseball. But yeah.
If you need help on your brackets, this might also be a helpful podcast for you. I don't know.
For sure. Brackets don't close till
Thursday at noon.
Thursday noon Eastern Daylight Time. So for where you are around the world, that's until you have until. So, 24 hours. Give this podcast a listen. Make your picks. Be the first ever guy to put out a perfect bracket thanks to the AFR guys. So here we go.
I love it.
Have there ever been a perfect bracket? Do we know? Probably not.
No.
I don't think so.
I remember I read it last year and not like recorded. Like it's like a Wilt 100 game kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Someone back in like 2000 when they were doing brackets.
I think there's like stories, but there's no like confirmed one online. So
Oh,
I don't know about women.
that'd be a great ESPN 30 for 30 someday, where it's just some guy in a rocking chair and he pulls out the newspaper and he's like, "This was me." And we're like, "Okay, yeah, sure, definitely, this was you."
I love it. Got the highlighter.
Yeah.
Old school paper and pen.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
like around, it might have been right after COVID, 2021, 2022. It was that guy traveling across the country, like on a family vacation, the dad. And I think he made it to like the Sweet 16 or Elite 8, and he like started going to the games then. And it was a pretty cool run. So no perfect bracket.
Oh,
That's pretty cool. Well, before we get into this, I
could be the
got
year.
some fun facts for March Madness, and we're gonna get into. I have 12 fun facts. I'm gonna kind of have Ryan and Chase react quickly. Some are just random facts about the tournament, and some are about specific teams in this tournament. We'll just do super quick reaction and get into the games, and we're gonna probably just talk mostly about March Madness in this podcast. But are you guys ready?
I was
Let's
born
do it.
ready.
Okay. I'm going to go Chase here for the first one. So there have only been 7 teams in the top 5 in Ken Pom offense and defense since 2008, and all have made the championship game. The only one this year is Duke.
Wow. The only one is Duke this entire year.
Yes. And there have only been 7 since 2008, and all 7 have made the championship.
Wow. That's for some reason I feel like North Carolina is. Wait. Man.
Yeah. So I don't know the exact teams, and it doesn't mean they won, but it just means they made the championship.
Yeah. No, that's really impressive though. Especially Duke is because they've been, I don't know, I feel like the most hyped team this year, especially because they've had like the number 1 overall recruit and everything that goes with that going in, especially being Duke as a legacy program. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like their odds. Someone told me he was a huge Duke fan that they're the tallest team in this tournament this year. For some people, that's a deal breaker. That's a immediate put them in the championship. I think that they have good odds, but Cooper Flag being hurt going in is definitely a little sketchy. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, well, I'll just go to number 9 here. Duke is the tallest average team in Division 1.
Okay. I didn't know if that was actually true, but
It is.
that's
It is.
okay. Because
matters.
every person I told that to since I've heard that didn't believe me. And they're like, "That's not true. That's definitely not true." And I was like, "I don't know. They're pretty tall."
So you can go, and I'm not going to change. But can we see the Ken Pom right here? Can we all see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go to, I just typed in Florida. Down here it says average height. You can click on it, and you can see the average height. And right now it's Duke.
Duke. Oh
my gosh. This is how I'm gonna make my bracket right here. I'm going into Ken Pom. I'm buying a subscription just for this day. And I'm just gonna rank those teams, and that's how.
And if you notice, my subscription expires in 2 days. Every year, it expires basically on the March Madness day, and then I renew it.
That's funny.
You need it for March Madness.
Yeah. Do you
So
know? I wonder if there's like a actual statistic on average of the tallest teams and winning a national championship.
I don't know that. That'd be good to know.
That's like an ESPN only stat that could
Yeah.
somehow big up.
It is interesting because it has experience and then benchment. Like it has, you can go down a rabbit hole on.
Oh wow.
I mean, height matters. Height matters.
It's Ken Palm has a basketball, then it also has the curling tab.
Okay.
Interesting.
Let's pivot back to March Madness here.
All right, fact number 2. Kansas is the oldest team in the tournament. All 5 starters are seniors, and they are a 7 seed.
Oh, boom. I'll take this one. Kansas finally got over the hump a few years ago. One of my favorite teams to always pick to win it. I have no idea why. It's not even because of Joel Embiid. It's been before Joel Embiid. But big thing I've taken from probably both of you over the years is height does matter, yes. 5 starters, I don't care if you're a 1 seed. I don't care if you're a 15 seed and your 4 guys have been playing together for 4 years. The amount of just gel you can have amongst 5 dudes out in the court. I mean, if you're watching any Philadelphia 76ers game still and you just see a hodgepodge of starters every night, you know it's a mess, right? I mean, great examples across the board, NBA, college hoops. You could go down to high school, right? Five starters, all seniors. I mean, the knowledge is there. They've put in the time. They're not just one and dones. They're here to compete as a team. I don't know how many of them transferred here or not across the board for Kansas's stake. I know some of the smaller schools, they kind of ride it out together, but that's a big sneaky Kansas 7 right there.
All right, next. Alabama is the fastest team in the country, and Drake is the slowest. This is based on like a tempo.
Are they going up against each other first round?
They're not going up against Drake, but they're the 2 teams in the tournament. So Alabama is a 2 seed, is the fastest, and Drake is an 11 seed. They're the slowest.
Wow. Yeah, Alabama, I feel like has definitely just been a tournament team that's looking to get to like they've always been right there, and then I feel like they always get bounced in like the 16, like right they get there, really tough matchup, and then they're just like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the grind of being in the SEC all year and then getting into the tournament and you're already beat down. But having the speed on your side definitely seems like it was a tactical decision going into this year's tournament. Because I remember last year, I forget who their matchups were, but I feel like they got into like some real dog fights. I don't know if it was like Illinois or somebody like that, but they just like they were catching bullets every round.
Yeah. All right, next one. VCU has the best field goal percentage in Division One.
Ooh, okay. I like that stat a lot. Not even dealing in anything else. And I like that stat for one reason and one reason only. The only way you can win is if you score points. Whether you're facing a tall team, might not get as many rebounds. Maybe you turn the ball over a decent amount. I don't know where VCU fits into that. They obviously aren't the best rebounding team, and they're not the best at taking care of the ball if they're sitting in 11 seed for this round. But if you make your shots, there are 11 seeds, including VCU, that have done this in the past, that will get hot. And if they get hot from beyond the arc to start off a game, boy, I mean, you better start getting nervous. Big time. I mean, anyone playing VCU as an 11 seed, they've done well as a high seed in the past. And I mean, number 1 in the country, like I'll take that. These are, I don't want to say Ben's giving me some picks right now, but
these are not based on anything I've picked. I'm just letting you know.
No, I know. Oh, I know.
All right, next one. At least one top 4 seed is lost in the first round, 15 of the last 16 years.
That's actually pretty unbelievable to think about it. It seems like it's only been a few years in a row, but to know that it's been that consistent definitely puts one of these teams on fraud alert.
Yeah, so top 4 seed.
Especially now that 16s have come into the mix.
Yeah.
I mean, the parity's gone haywire. I also can tell you, I think I remember the exact year where that didn't happen.
Was it the chalky year?
I think
where it was
so.
like all ones.
Yeah, it was like all 1s and 2s in the Elite 8. Gosh.
All right, next one. A double-digit seed has gotten to the Sweet 16 in the last 16 straight years.
Holy smokes. I love it for the sport, I hate it because I know I'm going to try to pick it. And what are the chances of you picking the right double-digit seed? Not saying there could be more than one this year. There's definitely some spots, depending on how you play your bracket out, that it could happen. But wild stat, what makes March, it really is what brings the madness to March. So I love to see it. But when you're building your bracket, you want to pick it right? We're not vanilla here. We're gonna go for it. So we'll see who comes out with it.
Yeah. All right, next one, and I'm just so it's you guys can see it. This is the only year right here. At least one team 7-seeded or worse has reached the Final Four in 10 of the last 11 years. So you got the last 11 years was it 2025, so from 2014. So you have
Oh my
8,
gosh.
7, 10, 7, 11. This year, nothing. 11, 8, 9, 11.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Wow.
I mean, that's the cherry on top of the madness. I mean, from one stat to another. Like how you first off, you have to have the balls enough, which it happens all the times. One seeds lose in the second round. You have to have basically enough balls to take the 8 or the 9. You have to get the 8 or the 9 right, which is a coin flip. And then you have to pick that one to beat the 1 and to keep going. I mean, this whole thing, the more we talk about it, it's a recipe for disaster. And why no one out there should put buku bucks on it, because it's fun and it's random and it's virtually impossible to pick picks right.
I was going to say 2023 is wild that it was a 4, a 5, a 5, and a 9.
Ridiculous.
That were the Final Four.
Ridiculous. I remember
Yeah.
everyone was pissed because Florida Atlantic basically had a bunch of gimme matchups. Their 8, like the first round, I think 8 was like they might have played the 16 in the second round that year.
Purdue lost to,
It might have been. That might have been Zach Edey went down.
And they lost to, who was that team from New Jersey, right? Or
No,
no.
I forget who it was, but I think then Florida Atlantic got them second round.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh.
All right. We have 3 more. They're all just team specific and they're just random team specific things. St. Mary's uses its bench the least out of any tournament team.
The Knicks of the NCAA.
The Knicks of the NCAA. Old Miss turns the ball over the least out of anyone in the field.
That might be my favorite stat, especially about. I mean, these guys haven't played together that much, regardless of if you have seniors or not.
And Old Miss is a 6 seed, and St. Mary's is a 7, and then 12 just number 2s for number 2 number 2 seeds. Michigan State and St. John's. Michigan State is 327 out of 364th, and St. John's is 338 out of 364 in 3-point percentage.
Wow.
So they are both bottom of the barrel teams as a 2 seed, which in my head, I'm not saying I'm picking any of those, but in my head, that is upset alert type of thing.
Yeah.
Any team in 2025 gets outshot in 3-point land, you could lose a college basketball game. I like to see that you can win though without it, but when I'm watching this weekend, I'm going to start sweating as soon as I don't see those 3 balls falling.
30.8% for Michigan State and 30.4% for St. John's.
Wow, they're shooting 3. They're not even making 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they're top 10 in the country in offensive boards.
Keep chucking them up.
So they chuck them up and they.
I mean, there's reasons
and
why.
Nothing's coming down. Just a long pass inside.
Yeah. And so and Michigan State, same thing. They're bottom of the barrel, but then they're the number 2. They're only allowing the defenses to shoot 28%.
Yeah.
So but anyway, just for a 2 seed to be that low is interesting. So couple little fun facts, and then we can get into the bracket now.
I like it.
Wow,
Everything matters. I think the biggest thing we can take away, especially when we start talking through this bracket, is you can interpret any stat how you want to. I think we talked pre-show about that. I mean, there's reasons. Everyone's going to validate their picks one way or another. You can just say you can find just enough stuff to validate the other way. So
yeah. All right, well, let's look at these. We're going to kind of do it 4x4 here, kind of east and south, and then just work our way down. And maybe we pick a game or two that we think is interesting each. And just, I know we're not going to necessarily give our picks away, but just something that we're looking at here.
Okay. I can go first. Definitely the BYU VCU matchup. You already gave your stat about VCU. BYU, we brought up a long time ago. Way at the beginning of the season with their Russian import Igor Demon. Turns out he's all right. Definitely not the phenom that we were thinking, but he's still pretty young, and they made it in as a 6 seed, so I think that's pretty impressive. But I think it's just going to be a lights out show. VCU, every time they make the tournament, they're always a team to watch. It just seems like they're one of those teams that elevates whenever they get there. And BYU, with just the talent that they've been able to do in every sport, they've been making waves, and so I feel like it's going to be a great matchup, early matchup to go for.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, this is one of those 6-11 toss-ups for sure. Spread on ESPN -2.5 BYU. Feel like that's spot on. I mean, whether you're ballsy enough to pick the 11 or not, I would say probably 40% of people, maybe close to 50, will. It's just a matter of if they can close the door at the end of the game or not. Yeah, I like that pick a lot, Chase.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that has me excited.
Yeah, 4 or 5 on a Friday. Shut your laptops, put on TNT, grab a brewski, kick back, enjoy some good basketball. It's going to be one of the best games probably of Friday or Thursday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, one I'm looking at in this little bracket here. We just talked about Michigan State. I don't think Brian can pull it off, but they're athletic, long, and they play fast, and they have a lot of guys who have transferred from big schools. I think they have a couple like St. John's transfers, and I think the coach, maybe I'm wrong. I think the coach is the St. Joe's coach son. You know, the guy from St. Joe's who coached forever.
Yes, with the mustache.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's his son that coaches Bryant, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that one.
Okay.
But anyway, they the size matchup with anyone. They're the like top 10 tallest team in D1 too, and they don't play like a mid-major school. They play really fast, and for a team like Michigan State who struggles to shoot the ball, that could become an issue. And I remember very vividly when Michigan State was a 2 seed and they played
Middle Tennessee
as a 15 and lost. And I would not be surprised. As much as everyone gives Tom Izzo praise, he's only won once. He's only ever won once, and he's been there for a long time. So
he's a Doc Rivers.
Yeah, he's a good regular season coach, but I definitely think Brian could be an upset alert, and I would definitely look at that plus 18.5 spread as something to look at. Not saying they'll win, but definitely a pick that I would look for.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. I think that day we were at the gym, Ben hit his PR and bench press, so it's a pretty impressive day.
Michigan State was my championship pick, and I think it was like one of the first couple games of the tournament too.
Oh my god, that's brutal.
For sure. I'm looking down here. The East, or is this the West down here on the right side?
This is the East.
The East, yeah. This is going to be a barn burner bracket. I mean, St. Mary's Vanderbilt for sure going to be a great game. Just with my name being Morris, I want to pick Robert Morris, but Alabama, I'm going to focus on this game here. Not that it's going to be a close game necessarily, but I think this will set the tone for Alabama and their tournament. Mark Spears, their point guard, longtime point guard, big fan of him. Played in some great dog fights, as Chase said, last year and helped them pull through. They got a great squad. They came back stronger, had a great regular season, great SEC tournament. And I think this game is a game where they're going to need to win by 20. They're going to have an easy game because this is a tournament like every other tournament where teams are going to get into some dog fights. I think whoever comes out of the St. Mary's Vanderbilt game, it's going to be tough for Bama. And I'd like to see them, if they want to make a deep run, win this game by 20 plus, cover that spread, show their dominance, and then carry that momentum hopefully through the first weekend and get to that Sweet 16.
All right. Nice.
So
I like that. Do you guys have any more from
Yeah.
this section?
No.
I have one more. I'm just gonna throw out, and it has nothing to do with Iowa State. That was a whole another thing. But Iowa State has one of their starters out for the tournament. And Lipscomb, they don't turn the ball over. They're top 20 in NCAA with not turning the ball over, and they're top 5 as far as committing the fewest fouls. And they have 4 fifth-year senior starters.
Oh my god!
They have a lot.
Wow.
They have a lot of potential to make an upset. They don't like teams like that don't turn the ball over and don't make stupid plays can definitely hang around in a game. So I would definitely look at that one as a potential, close game.
All of that, folks, and you get the 14 seed. See how easy it is.
Wow. That's crazy. I think experience is going to go far in this tournament, though. I think, like you said, the teams that have the most continuity, and I know Kansas have gotten their ass beat in a bunch of times this season, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Sometimes I think that helps the team learn how to win.
Yeah, and it's not the same. I don't know to the same extent, but it's not the same. Like when I see a senior, I haven't been able to. I don't have enough time to deep dive into that. But when you see a senior, it's not the same as like, oh well, it must be good. It could be their first year on the team as a senior. Like we don't. It's because of the transfer portal. It's not always
Yeah.
like seniors that have gone through together. Like I remember with like Mercer, like when they beat
Yeah.
Duke back in like 10 years ago, and they had 5 senior
Yeah.
starters. They all played together for the
Yeah.
full 4 years.
But experience matters.
Yeah.
And it can benefit too. If you're on different teams, you learn how to win in different systems. And obviously a team like Lipscomb was a successful year. So these guys came together, and I mean, who knows? I mean, this is a small chunk. Bryant, Lipscomb, VCU were just 3 high seeds we talked about. I mean, one of those 3 is probably going to win.
Yeah, and again, we're not telling anyone to pick them. We're just kind of throwing out
No,
some
I'm
reasons that
telling
someone
people.
could.
I'm telling people right now, pick one of those 3 teams, but only pick one, and good luck getting it right.
And
still.
Montana's going to be the one that wins.
No.
All right, why don't we go up to this part, to the top 4 here, and then we can talk about anything you guys like in this one.
Let's see. You're talking about the Auburn region.
Yeah, I mean, I can go first. For me, the one that stands out is Yale. It feels like
yeah.
it feels like they've always. Last year they won a game. I think it's a 12 or 13.
Yep.
They always seem to do well in the tournament. They're coached well, and it feels like another semi-favorable matchup. I mean, I don't know all the other 4-13s, but 7.5 line. I bet you that's the lowest line of all the 4 and 13 matchups. I don't. I would put that game really close, and Yale definitely could win that game and make a run even to the Sweet 16.
Yeah. The Ivy League has become a lot more competitive across the board in sports in general. Yale is a great example for men's college basketball. 100% agree with you.
Yeah. And I imagine like Ivy League school too, it's probably one of those things where these guys have been playing, these pasty whites have been playing together for a long time, so they're ready for a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And next year they can bail you out and or fix your brain because they're that smart.
Yeah. I like that. I like that too, honestly, Ben. Oregon's been another hot team in recent tournament years. No matter what their seed is, they seem like they can win some games. I would say they're in a similar spot to Alabama for me. 5-12. No numbers to back me up right now, but I think in recent years, the 5-12 hasn't been as scary
I think you're right.
of a matchup. I
Mhm.
mean, there were times 8-9 years ago where it felt like at least half the 12s were winning every year. I like this Oregon matchup. I think they can get themselves in a good spot, chance to make a run. Every game, anything can happen, right? But Oregon and that 5 spot, it's looking pretty tasty for me. I'm telling you, I'm leaning towards it right now. I don't know if I'm actually going to pick them or not, but then they go through, have the Arizona Akron winner. I think there's a good shot for them, depending on the status of Cooper Flag come Sweet 16 time or Elite 8, or I'm sorry, round of 32, Sweet 16 time. That, I mean, who knows? They can make a run.
Yeah, I like Oregon.
Yeah. I'm definitely surprised to see Montana in here. I don't know why my eye keeps drawing over to the other side. I know it's on the other bracket, but
Down here.
Yeah. Is my screen different than you guys?
Is
No,
it share? Let
we're
me
on the
see.
same one. Oh
I
no,
just went
no,
down a little bit.
no.
I went. I was going up to the top four and then the bottom four of like the
Oh,
East and
oh, yeah.
you can talk about Montana though. It's right here.
Oh no, I feel like I kept like every time I look up, I just see Montana, and I'm like, it's just
Oh,
not a school you like. I always see, I like every time I think of Montana, I'm thinking of them in like the Division 1 FBS like college football rounds, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, cool, Montana's doing something.
Yeah. No, let's hop down. I think we should hop down to the lower region if
do you have
everyone's ready to.
anything else, Chase, for these four or
Yeah,
these
not
eight?
really.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, the 8-9s across the board.
Yeah, I will say I think UC San Diego is going to be a popular upset pick, and Michigan's only a 2.5 point favorite. I feel like in my opinion, the really popular upset picks end up not happening.
Yep.
So, but we'll see.
Vegas knows.
All right, let's move. We did those. Let's move down here. Are you seeing these four, Chase, from
yeah,
Florida down to Grand Canyon and
yep,
then Houston
yep,
down
yep,
to High Point? All right.
yeah,
All right. We got anything you guys are seeing? I got some juicy ones in this.
There,
yeah. There's a
I was talking about the East being some barn burners. I mean, down here, there's so many great matchups. Let's go to the 8-9 Gonzaga, Georgia for me. Georgia has been a very notable school across the board of all college sports, mainly because of college football. But Gonzaga in recent years, I mean, how many times we've seen them as a one, a one, a one, a one, a one? I I, I want to know, are they an 8 because they're just having a down year, or are they a sneaky 8? I think this is one of those situations. How many times we've seen Houston choke? Plenty of times, especially as the 1, if not the 2. So Gonzaga, Georgia, big game for me to watch. I hate picking the 8-9s against the 1 because you have to get that first game right, but
It's a tough one.
it's for sure a tough one. 4:35 matchup Thursday afternoon. Some really good games Thursday afternoon that are probably going to make or break my entire bracket. But this tournament past, it comes and goes. There's 4 games on at a time. You can't even breathe. I love it. And I'll see if Gonzaga, if they want to show up even as an 8 this year.
yeah. Definitely one of the teams I've been just hearing about peripherally, but they're actually doing something. And they've arose from the dead last year. They had nothing on their roster, came from the ashes, and something I hope that Villanova can take the blueprint of and apply to their team. But that's the number 4 seed Maryland. I mean, they've literally come out of nowhere. No one was talking about them for even the last 3 years, especially. They just had nobody. Everybody knows Angel Reese. She has a brother. He plays at Maryland. Julian Reese, I thought he was not very good. Turns out, put a lot of good players around him and have the coach instill a good system. Then he turns out to be a really good player. So I know they've had some like heartbreaking losses this year, but I feel like they've come a long way. And against a Grand Canyon team, they should be able to do something. But I feel like they're going to be a nice tournament team to watch, like, and especially in this region, all these teams that potentially they could go against, I feel like is going to be a good game. And that's in terms of every game being great, but especially them, I feel like they just come at it with the hybrid style that is common throughout college basketball today.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that too a lot, Chase.
I have a couple,
Yeah.
but first I also
Let's
want to
get into
mention UConn. They're in here going for the 3-peat as an 8 seed. Gonna have a really tough draw. I think they can get past Oklahoma. Florida's gonna be tough, but I mean I wouldn't count them out either. As an 8 seed, I think they definitely they've been inconsistent this year, but they definitely could rise up and beat a Florida team. But so just something to watch out for. The other one, Memphis.
I mean, they haven't lost in the tournament, and
yeah, it's true. But it's a different team. They're not as talented. They've had definitely some lottery picks. Like
Klingen's gone.
Klingen's
Thanks.
gone.
Everything. Sorry.
But the other one, Memphis, Colorado State. I mean, how many times do you see a 12-5 as a 12 being the favorite? And Memphis is just not. I don't think they're that great this year. So I mean, I would definitely pick Colorado State, but it definitely is a little sus that they're the favorites as a 12-5.
How does that even happen? Can we just stop? How does that happen?
I don't remember if Memphis has someone injured too. But
can you explain to a 14-year-old how the lower seed is the better team.
And Colorado State, if they didn't win the Mountain West, I don't think they'd be in. I don't think they would have been in either. But
they're hot.
They're hot. And then the last thing I wanted to point out is Purdue and High Point. I think people are probably going to poo-poo High Point because it sounds like a weird school and no one's heard of it.
Sounds like a trash school. No offense, High Point. You sound like you're going to lose by 30.
But they're facing Purdue, which up until last year and Zach Edey's gone, Purdue has been absolute garbage in the tournament. Just absolute garbage. It's an automatic out. High Point's top 25 offense in the league in Division I. They're top 10 in steals, and they have 3 senior starting guards. So against a team like Purdue, who definitely can struggle, again, you have an 8.5 point spread. I think we talked about it up here where it was 7.5 was maybe the lower one, a little lower, but that's not big for that matchup. And I can see that game being close. I don't know if they can win that, but I can see that one being closer than people think.
We got to have some chaos in one of these games. So we got to have like a 12-13 matchup or something like that.
Let's start getting
these High Point matchups.
Let's get bold. Purdue is a great tournament team to pick against, no matter what their seed. They lost to a 16. They were the second team ever after Virginia. They choke artists. I don't care if High Point is trash themselves. It's going to be a trash fest. It's going to be a bunch of missed shots, and we'll see who comes out. But I love picking against Purdue. I'm with you, Ben. They're a trash tournament team. I don't care what the numbers say.
Yeah, there's certainly a few teams that are blackballed. Arizona's one, Purdue's one for me. Those
Virginia
teams that are
in. One.
Yeah, Virginia. If they're in, I'm gonna give you a win first round, but you're not getting past the second round.
And this is I know it's sometimes hard to read, but this is just High Point. Their offense, all the green, is obviously good, and they're like top 60 in the country. And this is in the country, not just like the tournament, like in all offensive categories, essentially. So they can, they can ball. So,
well, I'm certainly going to be rooting for a High Point Yale matchup at some point. If they both cross over and go the distance,
that would be a finals. I think it's a championship.
I wonder. I don't know what the odds are on that, but if you can put $1 on it, it might be worth it.
Oh my gosh, there's definitely no way that's ever happened.
Put it out there now. I put $1 pick on an upset parlay. It's like 120 grand.
Oh,
it's like 8. It's only like 8. It's not that big. It's like 8.
It's juicy.
Okay. All right.
This
is what March Madness is all about.
I'll give you 50 cents. We'll go in together.
Oh yeah, we'll have these. All right. Let's go down to here.
Last chunk of the
bracket. Who do we like? What do we see?
Yeah.
A little more boring.
Yeah, this one feels a little more boring. I think Illinois, I talked about it a little bit before the podcast, as a 6 seed, you always look for that other team to come in and potentially get through to the next round. But Illinois is finally healthy, and they've beaten some really good teams this year when they're healthy. I wish I had that up beforehand. I'm just going to pull it up now and waste everyone's time. But they've beat Purdue and Michigan, both really good teams in the tournament. Earlier in the year, they beat Oregon, Wisconsin. So they have the capability to beat some of the better teams.
Yeah, they only lost to Duke by 40. So
and getting it, well,
just kidding. Duke's good,
but getting a team like Kentucky, who I don't honestly think this year Kentucky's that great. I know there are 3, but I think they can make a little bit of a run and surprise people, and especially if they face the winner up here after, if they get that far. I mean, there's not a lot of
High Point. You mean when they face High Point?
High Point. So I like Illinois to kind of sneak out of here as a little bit of a under the radar underdog, not as a super high seed, but as a 6.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like Illinois just as one of those tournament teams. They just seem to get in. They've had to battle all year in the Big Ten. They've had some really good matchups. So I feel like once they get to the tournament, they're able to unleash it on some teams that aren't really ready for all the poundings that they've had to go throughout the year.
Yeah, I want to go down to the St. John's Omaha game. I don't know if we can get Stat Guy on it or not. I want to know if Omaha's ever been in the tournament. I'm sure I would have known if they weren't. But I've just never heard of them before. Second one, it's more of a question, Chase, I guess you could probably shoot the shot first on this one. I mean, I don't ever remember St. John's having this good of a team. Like, how legit have you followed them at all? How legit are St. John's? Like, can they make a serious run here at a 2?
Yeah. Um, I feel like it's been a while since St. John's has been a dominant team, and obviously that's because of Villanova just had their thumb over the entire Big East for a long time. So I feel like it was hard for them to prosper. But for them to be at a number 2 seed, obviously that says that the committees and NCAA as a whole feels pretty strong about them. I don't think it's going to translate though. I feel like they're just going to get in, and like you said, they like just the matchups they could potentially have right out of the gate, Kansas or Arkansas.
Yeah.
That's tough. I mean, that's if I'm assuming that they can handle Omaha. Maybe it's a close game, maybe it's not, but just getting out, I'm not sure of their chances, but maybe they just are that. I'm always like a little skeptical of Big East teams though when they get into the tournament. I feel like there are teams that do flame out like kind of quickly. Just
Besides UConn,
I don't
right?
know that to be fact. I just feel like that's just my gut in like the last few years. That's just always what it kind of felt like a little bit.
And to answer your question about Omaha, this is their first ever NCAA tournament appearance. They first became D1 tournament eligible in 2015, 2016.
I knew it. I fill out enough brackets. I don't watch a whole lot of college basketball regular season. All right, Omaha, let's see what you got. I think you're going to get stomped. I'm probably going to put that mortgage on St. John's spread. Don't tell my fiance, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, we have seen like craziness go off before, especially a number 2 seed. They get knocked off way more than number 1 seeds.
Yeah.
In the first round. So
yeah. I feel like Houston's lost like 17 times the 2 seed since I've started watching March Madness.
yeah.
So
Yeah, there's just been a lot of regular season warriors, and then they win their conference tournament, and they're like, I feel like mentally they're just not ready for especially if they're not a team that makes it like far in the tournament. I don't know. I feel like you have to make it far once and then to realize what it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking down here, I guess the 16 game's pretty good right now. Got a 2-point game with 2 minutes left.
Don't promote the 16s.
Hey, it's PA.
Look at these teams.
PA
Alabama
team.
State, St. Francis, PA. I love it.
Where is San Francis, PA at? We're all live in PA. Does anyone know?
I don't know.
Probably a
Let's look it up.
city. Probably like
I'm gonna guess out west. Yeah, that's what I was gonna
probably
say.
like Pittsburgh.
It's in Loretto, Pennsylvania.
It doesn't help me at all. It made it worse.
You're not familiar with Loretto. It's actually out by you guys. It's in Cambria County. It's not too far from you guys.
It's 2 hours from us.
Okay.
It's like the closest that I know of is Altoona. It's kind of close to Altoona.
Okay. Wow. Hometown heroes. So, all right.
Mount St. Mary's, is that the one that beat Purdue?
That sounds right. Oh my gosh, my memory's so short sometimes with sports. All right, let's just take a quick.
All the names sound familiar.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Or it sounds similar. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
No, taking a big look at the bracket. I mean, is there anyone feels like they can make a deep run? I know we don't want to spoil our brackets too much. Duke's like a big one. I feel like whether you're a Duke fan or not, they've been in situations like this before, and I feel like they can at least make, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four runs. Not saying they're going to do it. Depends on how healthy Cooper Flag looks throughout the tournament, but I think that's very possible. They're not a team that, I mean, they've had upsets, but they're always relevant, and they make enough runs that I think it's legit.
Yeah, and to me, like, none of these games scare me for Duke. Like Mississippi State, Baylor, then even if they get out past that, like winner of Arizona or Oregon or whatever, like, I don't know. I feel like they could kind of semi-cakewalk to the Elite Eight, and then obviously anything happens, but I feel like Duke got a fairly...
It's kind of like a clear, honestly. I mean, is there any other teams? To me, there's no other teams that really pop out, honestly. I mean,
as a favorite,
there's some good squads, but is there anyone you feel like can like legitimately? I mean, we have to throw UConn in there, right? They've won 2 in a row. I know teams change.
I'm not gonna say another team because I don't want to spoil my bracket.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Buffalo seed winning it all, which
Yeah, I might have like number 10 Arkansas.
as long as it's
Yeah.
not Omaha, because they're going to lose by 30 round
I
one.
might actually have Yale High Point as my championship matchup.
Oh my gosh.
That's gonna be an intense first couple of days.
Yeah. It's gonna have the world on fire if it does.
I do think I've heard a lot of people talk good things about the Michigan State team, and I know I've kind of crapped on them a bunch already in this podcast. But I think if they can, obviously any team can get hot from, and if they can shoot even like 35% from three in the tournament and play the same brand of basketball that they play, they definitely can make a run. Because I think Auburn's kind of faltered a little bit down the stretch, so I think they've shown that they're beatable. So I think besides like that Duke bracket, feels like Duke, Alabama is like could be like Elite Eight, but other than that, I feel like a lot of the other regions are pretty wide open.
Yeah, parity's
Yeah.
always there.
And since I'm saying Duke, Alabama, it's probably going to be like VCU against Vanderbilt or something.
Oh
but
yeah. Oh yeah.
actually, that can't happen. It'd have to be
Mhm.
VCU against someone up here. But anyway,
No.
Yeah.
Any fun tournament? Go ahead, Jace.
I was gonna say, just from another outside perspective, I'm super excited because of not the position that the Sixers are in, but the position that they're in of being able to take one of these potentially top six players. It's unfortunate Rutgers isn't in because they have two of
I
those
know,
guys.
it's wild.
So yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but we're going to see a lot of Cooper Flag, especially if you haven't seen him this regular season. But the things I've seen in the regular season that I've liked so far, so I'm excited to see what it does now in the games that really mean the most. But yeah, there's going to be guys who maybe are kind of on that bubble right now of being a lottery pick that cement themselves with a good tournament run. So there's guys that you're definitely not talking about right now, and guys that I'm not even looking at that we're going to find out about. And hopefully, with Paul George being shut down, I mean, it's pretty much is the end of the end for the Sixers, and you're just hoping for a top six, really hoping for a top three, and if you got your fingers and your toes crossed, the number one overall pick. So let's hope and pray that we get a good March Madness and a really, really good lottery pick.
Yeah, and one of the guys, I think he's like a top three in the at least in the tournament on Illinois. He's a European dude who's like 18. I don't know how to pronounce his name, Kasparas Yaklinis, but he's like 6'6", 200 at 18, and he's projected as like a top 10 pick. I don't know exactly where, but he's definitely in Illinois. And then you got on Michigan, Jason Richardson's son, Jace Richardson,
Yeah.
who's
Oh,
supposed
yeah.
to be a pretty good prospect as well.
Yeah.
So
Still on the Sixers himself, Jason Richardson.
there you go. He starts lighting it up, and then
It's fun. I mean, it puts people on a map. There's no best of sevens here. This isn't professional sports. It's you show up, you make
No.
your shots, or you go home.
I think at Georgia State when they made that ridiculous shot, and his dad was the coach, and he fell off the chair, and
But yeah,
Oh,
that
my
Hunter or something like that.
yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
That
Yeah.
guy, that guy from the point guard from Kansas State. I don't even remember his name. I was watching those like you said, those random
Yeah.
moments and like players were just like, how have I never heard of this guy before?
Yeah. But notable players too, I think, was it Jalen Suggs was the one on Gonzaga that hit the game winner bank shot, top of the key
Mhm.
three the 1 year. Just like fun moments like that. I mean, that's why no matter if you know nothing or you're the biggest college basketball sports betting guru in the world, just enjoy the tournament for real. I
Yeah.
mean, I can be a little hypocritical with that at times. It's easy to get mad, especially if your championship team loses on the first day, one of the first games. Ben's tip of the day is choose a team that plays Friday. You at least get to enjoy one full day of March Madness.
Do it. You'll be happy.
You'll
you
have your
did.
championship team in. So just enjoy it. It's going to be a wild tournament. We'll be covering it. We can touch base on how the first weekend went next Tuesday. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up the show?
Not really. I'm just excited for the action. I'm excited. I'm really hoping that like one of these, like we said, lay down just like a Kemba Walker type run where it's like a guy puts a team on his back and runs into the championship that maybe wasn't like a top overall seed. Like that'd be cool. I feel like any type of storylines are just always in. So I feel like that's the part that's it's almost like Christmas. Like something's gonna happen. You just can't figure out. You can't really put your finger on it. What's gonna happen, but you just want to
Oh, yeah.
be witnessing it as it all
Yep.
happens. So
Yeah.
Hopefully you can be watching that Kevin Harlan game. Maybe catch a good call out too.
Yeah.
A wild one. So unpredictability. That's why it's one of the best sporting events in the entire world.
Yeah. But I think that, we'll end it there. And we appreciate everyone for listening and hope we helped you guys maybe fill out your brackets. Maybe we made your bracket worse. But either way, we appreciate the listen.
Enjoy the madness. Ben, Ryan, Chase. Talk to you next week. Peace.